We're going to be really busy today. Um, we're going to try to do a lot in not much time and see how that goes. Hopefully, it goes okay. I don't know if it will or not, but we'll find out. So, the deal today, I wanted to get into this video today because I will not be able to get in here. James, what's up? I will not be able to get in here at all for the next couple days because it's going to be like -6 degrees or something. So I wanted to get in today, do as much as we could. And hold on, I need to turn my brightness up on you guys. One sec. Sorry, I'm back. I'm good. How are you guys? Amanda, how are you? We're doing porcelain today. I had a really gimmicky idea. I want to make... Oh, wait, I need to take my shoes off. Hold on. Hold your butts, everyone. I was wearing big globby shoes. Something pooped in my shoe. Hold on. It's becoming more complicated. Something decided to take a massive poop in my shoe. That's really cool. Really love that. I love that for me. Anyway, I want to do some kitschy shit today. We're gonna make double wall cups. Poop in my shoe. Mouse poop. I want to make kitschy cups. I want to make double wall cups, but the deal is that the pattern of the holes are hearts. We're not going to get to the patterning today. I can just tell you that right now. I'm doing this all in advance so I can pattern them tomorrow. We're going to do 7 of these, and we have until 2 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock now, 11:15 now. We're going to make 7 of the double wall cups. We're just not going to put holes in them. But hopefully we can get them all done, all trimmed. They're all going to be slightly different. We're using porcelain today. We're off of the black clay for today because I thought hearts, cutesy. I think pink would be better. Anyway, I don't know. I was just thinking about it last night, and I don't really do kitschy stuff ever, and I feel like it for the first time in my life. I feel like making something kitschy. I have not thrown with porcelain in a really, really long time, so I don't know how well this should go. I think so too, James. We'll find out. I know people love rainbows and people love hearts, and I'm like tempted to just... Honestly, I was thinking about it a lot last night, and I'm tempted to not do the terracotta thing that we were talking about. What's up, Zach? How are you? And instead going to Cone 6 porcelain, and then essentially just doing kitschy Cone 6 porcelain stuff where it's like a lot of hearts and a lot of stuff like that. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Yeah, the porcelain's okay. It's going all right. Porcelain's okay. It's not really any different than anything else. The only reason that we're using it is because the color. We'll do the same thing with black hearts at some point, but for some reason I thought porcelain would be right today. So we're gonna do some tall T-bowls like this, some more Unomi shapes, and then we're also gonna do some shorter kind of squatter ones. So we have 7. So I'm a speedy guy, James. So that's pretty much the basis. We're not gonna really make these super crazy, altered, whatever. I like the throwing lines. I think I like the inflection. I'm gonna bring this out just a little bit. Maybe I'll bring this out just a little bit more on the base. And I think the throwing lines mixed with the heart would be nice. Oh, it's always good, Zach. Uh, I always appreciate anybody coming in. All right, we're just going to open this up just a little bit more. Okay, so here's the deal. There's going to be a ton of torching today, but since we're making 7 double wall pots in one sitting, the issue is that um, I can't torch them until I need to start working on them for each part. So we're going to torch them when they need to be torched. So these parts are all going to get thrown on their separate bat, and then they're going to have their interiors made, and then everything will start getting torched then. Otherwise, everything will dry out too quickly and we won't be able to do it in time. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate you. So we're going to do, like I said, we're doing 7 double wall cups today. So we're going to do probably half taller Unomi style, like that one. And then the other half will be shorter. So we're working with 350 grams of clay for the exterior and 328-ish grams for the interior. So if anybody has a specific shape, if we should make some angular ones, maybe that'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Thanks, James. I'll be here probably until 2. These are going to take us a while to do. If we can get some of the holes out today, I would love to do that. I just don't think it's going to happen in this one sitting. 7 double wall cups in one sitting is a lot. What's the shape called? Uh, if you were going to use the Japanese term, it would be a Unomi. Yunomi. It's essentially just a handleless mug because I mean, they're double walled, so what I'm about to say doesn't matter. Uh, well, they will be double walled, but for Unomi, the handle is the foot. Cool. The top is going to get altered. I'm not going to really worry about that. I'm mainly just thinking about the body down low, which needs a little bit of adjustments. Anyway, I am kind of like contemplating less atmospheric firing, more electric firing. It would just be easier. And I honestly don't think anybody in the grand scheme of things really cares about atmospheric. I do. I'm going to keep doing it because I love it. But in the grand scheme of things, and in like as like a business, um, I just don't think it's the move. So you want a goblet? Goblets and double walled pots are fine. They're definitely not my favorite combination of things, though. These will have these big stems, so theoretically, it'll kind of look like one of those later anyway, if that helps. But we can certainly do a more goblety form. Though this is the wrong amount of clay for that. I feel like a goblet is mostly stem. So, and I can't decide. Do you guys think that Do you think that undulating the pots and then adding a heart on top of it would be too much? You know what I mean? Would that be too much motion, too much stuff like that you're looking at? Amazing. Yeah, I kind of think it would be too much motion too with the hearts. I think simple is better. The other thing I'm kind of contemplating is, should we try one then? Should we try one undulating one? I also think squaring one off could be very cool. Okay, let's try it. Okay. Ha- can you rephrase what you're asking? I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. I threw this too thin. It cracked. We can patch it though, potentially, or we can just put a heart there. You know what I mean? I don't know how I feel about this one. I feel like the undulation's wrong. It's like the motion is off to one side. You know? Thanks. Crumply. I think it'll be fine. You know what? Whatever. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'll grab another ball of clay and we can make another one for it. Yeah, anything's possible. 100%. I'm also happy to take commissions on that, but you gotta just send me a photo of what you're talking about over on Instagram. And then during the next live, we can always make something what your vision is. You don't have to buy it necessarily, but I would like to see a drawing of it. Was I talking about long teacups yesterday? Honestly, I don't even remember what we were talking about yesterday. They were finished long teacups. All right, Zach. Good luck. Later. You know, the nice thing that because we haven't torched the other pieces yet, we can still alter them, which is nice. This one doesn't want to center, but we're just going to go. Huh. Honestly, I have no idea. I was feeling a little delirious last time we did a live. Hell yeah. Sure, Maya. This is porcelain. It is 92700 porcelain from Sheffield Pottery. It's a cone 10 porcelain that I'm going to take up to cone 12. and it has malachite mixed in, and then I also mixed in about 10% silica sand to it. This one I think we're going to make more kind of like a gourd. So we're going to go out, and we're going to go in, and then we're going to go out, and then come up. And then we're going to bring the bottom out to kind of accentuate outside of that bottom part. Yo, I know, it's been a while, Aki. I've used, so the fire in my studio right now to keep me warm is the last wood I have. I do not have any more wood for my studio. I have to go get more somewhere else. So that's why we're doing 7 of these today. Because I don't have the wood, so I need to just use the space the best with the best timing I can, or do what I can while I have the heat in here still. Okay, what do we think about that? Kind of fun, right? Maybe? I don't know. All right, let's make some wider ones. And let me pour some more tea for myself too. So we have 3 more exteriors to make before we start making interiors. We can always alter the forms that we're working on right now because we haven't torched anything, so there's plenty of time to alter whatever we want. Do you think it'll look good with hearts? That's the big question. You know, because that's the thing I'm not really sure about. I kind of feel like we got to really work on simple. So I think this next one, well, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to think about how to make these angular but also double walled, and I'm running into some structural issues that I'm just thinking about. Um, but hi. I'm not going to worry that these aren't really attached to the bat because it doesn't really matter. My hearts are not going to be perfect. I'm going to cut them all out by hand individually. And so they're going to vary in size and slate shape and things like that. So none of these hearts are going to be perfect. I'm not using a stencil. I'm going to be hand cutting each one out with a knife. We should get some wider of these though. So let me go a little bit wider on the next few. Oh, okay. I guess you're right. You're right. If it's not going to be perfect, then in machine, then you would want a heart to be on something that's less than perfect. What do we think about that? Really simple, just kind of like a squat cylinder with some throwing lines in it. That's kind of cool, right? Maybe. We can reassess these before we actually decide to make the final shape on them. I will have to find some other bats in my studio though, because I need wood bats for all of these. And I see 2 more wood bats, so we'll need 1 more wood bat to do this. I'm sure there's one in my studio. We'll just have to like search around for it. Oh, hell yeah. What are you going to make today? Maybe we'll make another wonky undulating piece that's wider for this next one. Also, Aki, tell me about everything. What's new? What's happening? Is it freezing where you are? Supposed to get into like -5 here this weekend. Evening, how are you? What's new? Tell me everything. Ugh, I shouldn't have clipped my fingernails before coming in here. I get way deeper throwing lines if I leave my fingernails in. Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. Oh, ooh, ooh. I love everything about that. Fantastic. What plant pots for what? Is anything specific or just a generalized thing? Hold on, I'll look up in a second. But also for everybody over on Facebook right now, if you're wondering who I'm talking to, I always stream over on YouTube as well. So, but you can also just pretend I'm talking to myself. I'm happy for that too. Okay, gotcha. I love that idea. Wait, I don't need to dry my hands yet. Hold on, we're doing production-y stuff. I'm forgetting what we're doing. All right, last one is going to be short and wide again, but Lauren, all of these will not have handles. These are all going to be double-walled cups. I'm really sorry that you had a stroke. That's horrible. Hopefully, you're feeling okay right now to a degree, as best as you can be. Um, but yeah, none of these will have handles. I don't like putting handles on cups. I love making handles. I don't like mugs. These are all going to be double wall cups, though. All of them should be ready sometime in mid-April to be purchased. So there's going to be a little bit of wait. I'm going to experiment with one of my cups in an electric kiln probably next week because I want to potentially start moving over to Cone 6 so I can just have things and people can buy them whenever they want. But hell yeah, hell yeah. How much more do you need to fund? Um, I know I'm drinking out of a mug after I said that, but this is not my mug. This is one of my students' mugs. She's an incredibly talented potter. She hates these mugs. She was going to throw them away. I said, "How dare you?" And I took them back from her. So now I use them as studio mugs, and I like to do it, especially have them in here when she's working in here with me, to kind of just show her how much I love them and to tell her she's wrong because they're wonderful. Hmm. Thank you, you. Hi, hi. How are you guys? Also, I do have one more cup that's double walled over on my website right now. It's the last cup I have available until my next firing. And you're certainly welcome to go check it out. It's a black clay with a chino on top. I love it. Sort of shocked no one's bought it. I'm sort of tempted to just keep it for myself, like I usually do if things last too long on my website. But there is one double wall cup left over there. I see. Okay. I see. I see. Oh, hell yeah. More whispers would be great. You know, when it's really cold out this weekend, I'm gonna try to pop my wheel head off. This wheel head is kind of fused to the reason this whisper to make so much noise is because it's fused to the bottom here, and it's I can't get it off. And I think that if I wait until it's like -5 degrees out, and then try to take it off when it's really cold, I might have a better chance of getting it popped off, so I can actually clean it. You know. Okay. So again, we're just kind of making. Of course, Lauren. Let me know if you have any questions anywhere. I will try to respond. I am not the best at checking my Facebook messages, but if you send a message through my website, not my website, sorry, my shop website, or um, or my Instagram, I will get back to you very quickly. Yeah, it's super cool. I don't understand how you guys took that apart. Oh. Oh, okay. Maybe I'll get a rubber mallet then. I have a good rubber mallet, um, because I can't pull this one off. But I'm gonna wait until it's super cold out because everything shrinks, and maybe it'll be able to come off a little bit easier. Okay, so next we have to make the interiors for all of these. We're not going to torch any of these things until we're getting closer to the point of actually connecting them, because again, since we've made 7 bodies for double wall pots, we need to be a little bit more particular. I need to grab one more wooden bat. So let me spin this for you guys. I have 2 plastic ones here, but since we're torching, I don't really want to apply heat to a plastic bat. It's going to be real smelly in here if I do. So give me one sec while I find a this wooden bat's fine. It's not the best wooden bat in the world, but it'll suffice. It's like it's a little warpy in like a not great way, but it'll be fine. By feel. I determine how thin or thick I want something. I personally like things disgustingly thin. People for years were telling me to thicken things up, and then I saw a significant decrease in my sales as soon as I started thickening things up for people who asked. And so now I'm back to paper thin. So I'm going to take a first measurement. This is going to dictate the interior, and I want a little bit of a gap in between. So I'm not going to have it directly 1-to-1, but I'm going to get close, because if it's touching, then it doesn't insulate, and then it doesn't work as a double wall pot. It burns your hand. So it defeats the whole point of the insulation factor. So we want this to be close, but not touching. And then usually, because I torch these, I can turn these on their side and look at the depth that I need, but because I can't right now, so we're at 3.5. So this is 3.5 inches deep, and that's the width of the interior. And then we're gonna have to take another measurement of the top part where we're gonna connect them. So let me put this to the side for a second. The next step that we're gonna be doing is we're gonna require a lot of torching. I apologize in advance. The sound is awful. I know we're not gonna torch right this second, but when it happens, I'm sorry. I'm just saying that right now. But it speeds up the whole process, and I would not be able to do this in one sitting if I didn't do that. So I hate the sound too. Maybe when you see my blue torch come out, just mute me for a second until it's done, or mute me all the time because I just blabble. You like the well, you guys are hearing it on YouTube, you hear it through my headphones. And I think it mutes it. Facebook does not have the luxury of being heard through my headphones right now. And so I think they're going to get a full blast of um, awfulness, but maybe not. Oh, interesting. I love the smell. You don't like burning masonite? It's like one of my top favorite smells. Hi, hi. Not bad. How are you? Okay, so let's just take a quick measurement. So we have a little bit to go. We're not quite there, which is good. And then let's just check height real quick. So we need to be 3.5, and we are at three exactly. So, um, oh, interesting. The propane doesn't even, I don't even register the smell of protein anymore. I just smell the masonite. Okay. Let's check width again. So we're going to be doing this a lot back and forth. So we're definitely too tall now. That's the right width. And we're going to let it graduate down to a smaller width. It will reduce the milliliter capacity, but it will prevent some issues later on in the build. So we're at 3 3/4. We have to lose 1/4 of an inch. And a lot of people use a pin tool. I like to, for very thin pieces, use this guy. Hi, hi. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. It just prevents it catching and then ruining a whole piece. But we can talk about thinness. That's my wall thinness, pretty much through and through. You can see that this is actually thicker than the wall here. I leave my rim a little bit thicker, so it's pretty thin. It would be scary to go any thinner, honestly. Okay. So the next measurement, let's just make sure it's at the right height. We're at the right height. The next measurement, I'm just going to do it over here. This is where it actually interacts with the top and fuses. So the next measurement on the top is going to be this. And we just need to move it out just a hair. It's actually too big, but when we torch it, it'll shrink back in. So we will be fine with that for now. Okay, so I will be torching each individual piece that goes in, because the next step after we make all 7 of the interior sections is that we have to then trim them before we can put them into the other piece. So this is where it's going to start getting noisy. For those who don't like sound, I apologize. I would mute me right now. If you don't mind sound, then hell yeah. But it's just going to be watching me torch a pot for like, I don't know. It takes about 1.5 minutes to do the full torching. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we have 7 of these to make, which means it doesn't have to be full torched. It just has to be mostly torched. So again, we're not going to torch as much as we normally do. because it has time to set up while we're making the other ones. So I'm gonna just put this with the one it needs to go with, that corresponds with, and then we'll move on to the next one. So next measurements are for this guy. So we're gonna do the interior. These undulating ones are tricky because I can't show you right now because I can't turn it, but the inside goes bloop, 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 bloop. So you have to find the narrowest engagement point. Otherwise, it won't work, which is a shame because it limits the amount of milliliter capacity one of these cups can hold because of it. So it is the only downside to that, to do the undulating ones. So, and I'm just going to turn this just to make sure it actually goes everywhere. And we want a little bit of an insulation gap. Otherwise, again, it will not work. And you'll burn your hands and it defeats the whole purpose. So got the right width and we are at 3 1/4 this time. So this one's shorter than the last. So we can leave that there. It doesn't really matter. So this one is slightly wider and slightly shorter. So more of like a kind of a very small matcha bowl. To be honest, too small for matcha. It's a little bit too big if you were not going to have an interior for a gongfu cha, but for our purposes, it's going to be perfect. Maybe. I hope. And, you know, I say double walled all the time, and I noticed that people don't really understand what that means, even though I keep saying it all the time. And it essentially means this is the interior. We've already made the exterior. This is where the liquid actually sits. The exterior is just where you put your hands. And that has a cool design. We're going to be putting hearts in all of these. Very kitschy, but it's almost Valentine's Day, and I feel like being kitschy. I never have in my entire life of making pottery. I've never done any like holiday based thing ever. And for some reason, last night I'm sitting in bed, and all I want to do. Shoot, I went too wide. All I want to do is kitschy stuff today. So I'm using my remaining bit of wood. Okay, perfect. Yep, perfect. Now, what are we height-wise? We need to be 3 1/4, and we are at 3 1/2. That's fine. We'll cut it down in a second. I just need to now open it up. So this one's going to be weird because the interior and then where it connects is very different because of how undulating the piece is. So we aren't going to cut it down just due to the fact that when we pull it out as far as we're about to, it'll probably lower to the size that we need, if that makes sense. Like that's not even far enough. There we go. So that's where we want to be when and it doesn't matter that there's an inflection point here. I'm going to trim it round. Just going to make sure we're at the right height. No, we're still too tall. Interesting. Okay, so we're actually going to cut this down just a hair. Honestly, this is where, you know, doing these parts is where it gets a little bit more kind of like back and forth and back and forth. Maybe not quite as thrilling to watch, but I've said this a million times over the years, but the better you get at throwing, the more you become a hand builder. And so the throwing itself takes very little time, and you end up doing more of it by hand, trying to alter things and make them however you want them. But the throwing itself of like the actual form, like the base form, what it takes, like the actual cup, it takes a minute less than a minute to actually throw. But all the little finagly stuff and all the connection points, that's where it starts adding up in time. All right, back to a torch. If we were just doing these one at a time, I'd be torching a lot more, as if you had watched me make one of these in just one sitting would know. But again, we're doing a production mode style for these. And the only reason we're doing a production style for any of this stuff right now is because I am out of wood. And so I'm using the remaining bit of wood I can and just trying to do as much work as I can. Okay. That looks to me like the smallest intersection, yeah. Okay. That's our smallest intersection. And then our width is going to be taller, I assume. Yeah, we're at 3.5. So this can go over here. There's a hole in that one. I know we're going to that's going to be where one of the hearts goes. Doesn't really matter. But we're doing 7 of these. We started, and just to get you guys kind of like where we are on timing, we've made 7 bodies, 2 exteriors, wedged all of our clay, got everything prepped, and it's been 40 minutes. Just to tell you kind of how long it's taken so far. So for those over on Facebook, are any of you guys potters? Any of you guys do pottery? Do you just enjoy looking at pottery, consuming pottery? Tell me about yourselves. I'm curious. I'm also curious about you guys on YouTube. But it's just been quiet over on Facebook, so I'm kind of curious. This one has some serious air bubblage in it. No, Aki, I quit TikTok. Now that TikTok's owned by awful people, I have no interest in it. So we've switched over to Facebook instead of TikTok now. Hell yeah, Otter. Have you tried it at all? Or is it just kind of like an interest in what it is in general? And are you into tea? What kind of pottery stuff are you into? Okay, so we're at 3.5, right width. Now I just have to take the top. And it's weird because I have to take the measurements of the widest part for the top. These undulating ones, I swear. So much trouble. It is it is always interesting. So and no pressure to say anything over on Facebook. I have noticed whenever I try to ask questions, see if anybody wants to interact, I usually lose like 10, 20 people watching at a time. It has kind of been a that's one of the reasons I actually years ago stopped streaming over there. I just busy got lonely, but now that I stream multiple places at the same time, it doesn't. I don't really care anymore. But well, the thing is, I'm still using Instagram, right? And so they're owned by the same people. So it's like, who do you pick? You know? Oh my god. Thanks, Boo. I can't tell if you're saying that I'm brain rot or not saying I'm brain rot because I can't tell if you made a little spelling error there or you're just being a hot guy. You know what I mean? Either way, appreciate you being here. All right, back to torching. I apologize again in advance. You should. You totally should. Is there like a craft center nearby that you can try it at? Well, I'm even more confused now. Karen. Oh my God. Well, welcome in. We're making 7 double walled cups today. 7. And I'm going kitschy. I feel like being hallmarky for the first time in my life. And we're doing double walled cups, and they will all have hearts as their exterior part. So we're already made all the exteriors. Now we're making the interiors for everything. Does this want to come out just a little bit? What do you guys think? It just comes out just a little bit here. We don't have to do it right now, but I think this one it would be nice if it got pushed out just slightly here. And we're at, whoa, this is the tallest one yet. We're looking at 4 inches. Boy, oh boy. Massive over there. And again, I'm going to just say this a couple times because I haven't been streaming on Facebook very often or at all, really, up until kind of recently. Sounds good, Otter. Absolute giant. When I say double wall, I mean we're throwing an interior section which is going to hold the milliliters of whatever liquid that you're drinking, and the exterior is an aesthetic thing. And if you're putting in hot liquids, it makes it turn into the handle. So you don't need a handle anymore because it's double walled. It's kind of like a artistic take on a mug. It's like a harder mug. Sometimes I even put handles on my double walled cups, but that's just because I love making handles, not because I love mugs. In fact, I don't really like mugs, except for the mug that I've been drinking out this entire time because it was made by a student of mine. She made a set of three. I think they are amazing and spectacular, and they're my favorite mugs to use. I also have some mugs by other potters that I really like. I have a Rene Loprezzi mug that I got years ago. It was my first ever uh, like commission. I ordered from her. She made me a custom cat cup years ago. I'm glad I got one before she got so famous. I hear there's like like you have to join like a wait list that costs like $500 just to get onto the list to even have access to buying her pottery when it first comes live. Karen, we're using 92700 porcelain. It's a cone 10 porcelain that I'm going to be firing to cone 12. I will be doing some experiments at cone 6 just to see if I like some things or not. But if we do, I'm going to switch to a cone 6 clay body. Atmospheric firing is amazing. I will never stop doing it. But I will tell you right off the bat that the average person consuming pottery does not care if it was atmospherically fired or if it was electric fired or if it was gas fired. They just don't care at all. And it's a lot of extra work for someone to just be like, just not care, essentially. Um, so I will be doing, I think, a mixture of, if I can get it to look nice, cone 6 and cone 12 work. I was originally going to do terracotta and locally source my terracotta from the river. But I'm not, now I'm kind of second guessing myself and thinking maybe it would be prettier to do this other stuff. Go down the kitschy route. Hearts, rainbows, some gold, maybe some opalescent luster. You know, just go down that route. Because that seems to be where the money is. Not that this is all about money, but if no one cares about, and I'm not saying no one, but I even though I just said I don't mean no one, if the wider market is not as receptive to atmospheric work, it's hard to do this as a living as is, and it would make potentially life easier if I can find a nice substitute to be doing some cone 6 stuff where I don't have to stoke every 5 minutes. I don't have to cut a cord of wood. I don't have to spend 8 hours loading a kiln and making wadding and being incredibly precise about this and that. So we're gonna experiment this year. I think the atmospheric stuff is gonna be double walled pots, still teapots, things like that. Electric fired stuff will be more simplistic things, single walled cups, maybe some double walled stuff hither and thither. We'll see. I will say that it is getting slightly easier to sell double walled stuff recently because double walled pottery has become more known and people are more willing to try new things just because more and more people are doing it. And so they're willing to consume newer stuff. So there is a upward tick in double-walled market. So that's a positive. I'm glad more potters are doing it now. Is it even if there's more competition, there's more accessibility, there's more knowledge from the consumer, and you get a potential for a bigger growth in different ways, you know? For some reason, I can't hit the see more. There we go. They're about that thin the entire way down, Karen. I like my stuff is super thin because think about it. It's two 350-gram balls of clay. If they're not both paper thin, it's going to feel like 2 cups. The last thing I want you to do is when you pick up one of my double wall cups is to be like, damn, that's heavy. Why is this so heavy? I want it to feel like 1 cup, even though it's 2 cups worth of clay. So they're paper thin. At one point, I was making them a little bit thicker, and I don't want to do that anymore. So now we're back down to thin stuff. This should be around 4 inches as well. Yep. Exact same. This is my second month doing this kind of stuff, Otter. So I'm quite new to it. I'm hoping like 6 months in, I can get a little bit better and maybe make some more complex forms. But feeling pretty good so far with the 2 months in. So the next step, once we've done all of our interiors, is trimming the interior. So we'll have to torch everything again, get it ready to be trimmed, and then we will do torch the exteriors, fuse them together, torch those, and then we will trim the exterior. And at that point, if we have time, we'll start poking out holes. But I also have to take a bunch of kids snowboarding or skiing in a couple hours, so I don't know if we're gonna have time for everything. Appreciate that, Otter. Thank you. That needs to go out a little bit further. And it's 1/2 inch too short. Okay, right width. I think it's too tall now though. Let's check. It's a fraction too tall, so we're just gonna cut down just a little bit. I'm gonna go on a quick tangent about water use in pottery. I really don't know why so many people are so anti-water. I think you should throw with as much or as little water as you want and leave people alone who use lots of water. It's kind of a weird hill to try to like die on, as far as like, if you want to be a good potter, don't use any water. Thanks, Karen. It's just very interesting to me. There's a lot of opinions out there, and I think everybody's wrong all the time, including me. I think everybody who does anything just makes everything up as they go, but they say it with confidence, and then you believe it. But I've now been firing wood kilns for enough years, and I've met enough people who own wood kilns that I literally think everybody makes every single thing they do up. Um, I taught myself how to throw in 2014, so I've been doing this for a while now, and I think everybody makes everything up. I think everybody doesn't know what they're talking about. I don't care who it is. I think everybody is just full of shit, including myself. I think the people you got to really watch out for are the ones who are like, I've been doing this for 30 years, rada, rada, rada. And then you look at their stuff and it's like 30 years equates to 2 months of actual hands on time. And it's like, I don't know. But they're the most opinionated most of the time. Well, Tracy, what's up? Also, I don't say this enough over on YouTube, but if anybody becomes a member on YouTube for any amount of money, you have access to a private Discord, and we have tea sessions together. We critique people or pottery together. We just talk, just have nice chats. Uh, I show a lot of my failures first, I feel like, before posting them. Not like it's that much sooner than I post elsewhere, but all right, two more interiors, and then we're going to start moving to trimming them. Right, Lydia? It's all bullshit. All of it. I. It's just like it's all bullshit. No one knows what they're talking about, and I guarantee the only person you never want to listen to in the pottery community are the ones who are that they know what they're talking about. You never want to listen to someone who is confident to a T on what they're talking about because they're the most full of shit and they're the dangerous ones because that's how misinformation spreads. Okay, I didn't take a Tracy, appreciate you. I'm not entirely sure how you join a membership versus donating money. Um, on YouTube, by the way, I'm sure there's a button. I don't know if Amanda's in here to explain that at all, but okay. Okay, there's the width of our next one, and this one's going to be pretty shallow. So we're looking at, oh, it's not that shallow. We're at 3.5. Tracy, what's new? Anything thrilling, exciting, wonderful? You should, Tracy. It's fantastic. Do you have a craft center nearby that you can give it a try at? It certainly can be. I don't know if I would ever consider it like relaxing or therapeutic. but this is also my full-time job. So it's kind of one of those, it's the trade-off there. I enjoy it, but I definitely I'm sure that there is somewhere near you if that's the case. Okay. And now we have to do the rim. And what did I say, 3.5? All right, we're a little bit too tall and we're not quite wide enough. So let's get a little bit wider and then we'll go from there. I've never seen that movie. What's it about, Tracy? I assume it's about ghosts. But that's just my assumption. Okay. Ooh. Oh my, sounds spicy. And you're saying it's a worthwhile watch? Sorry, torch. Just for a sec. Tracy, you should. That movie came out a long time ago. I refuse to watch that movie. By the way, I do know what that movie is. I refuse to watch it. It's like kind of like one of those things where when you make pottery, inevitably in every live stream, someone will ask you if you've seen that movie or like where's Patrick Swayze or like where's Demi Moore. Um, so I refuse to watch it out of principle. I will never watch that movie. Brandon, good. How are you? Oh man. Oh my god. I can't wait to see the message that was blocked. That's my favorite part. Wait, why was that blocked? Good on you, Tracy. Congratulations. But yeah, I refuse to watch that movie out of principle. I will never do it. A lot of practice, Christine. Christine? I can't actually see. Your name is so small. Sorry. I like to leave about an inch of clay at the base of everything I throw. And I've been throwing long enough that I just naturally leave an inch of clay at the base. Visually, I can kind of just see that much. Because I'm going to round off the bottom later on. Which torch are we talking about? I don't remember us talking about buying a torch. I think it's a great movie in the sense that it brought people to liking clay. I I don't like the sensual aspect of it in relation to me making pottery, though. Hell yeah! And whose cup have you been drinking out of recently? Oh my god, what are you doing? Get out of that store bought stuff. Go buy it from someone. It doesn't have to be me. Go find some local potter. Okay, this one's gonna be weird because because we pushed it in so far right in the midsection there that the interior amount is pretty minimal. So this is gonna actually, even though it's one of the taller cups and wider cups in places, it's probably gonna hold the least amount of fluid. Okay, we're at 4 whole inches. I get it, Tracy. You should. I can almost guarantee that there's places nearby where you are that you could do that at. So this is the last interior, by the way, and then we're gonna start. We're gonna have to retorch some of the interiors we made, and then trim all the interiors we made, and then torch the exteriors that we made, and then connect the two together, and then torch those exteriors, and then we have to trim those ones. And if there's time, we'll start cutting out the hearts because we're going, like I said at the very beginning of this, and a couple times throughout, we're doing hallmarky, gross, cruddy stuff. I've never been a fan of doing pottery based on holidays, but I was going to sleep last night and I was like, I want to make cups that are pink with hearts on them. First time in my life. I'm like, I didn't even realize that Valentine's Day was coming up. I was just like, I want pink hearts. You know? You guys know what I'm talking about. I can tell you're all sophisticated peoples. All right, before I open this out, I need to see how much. See, we can barely go out. Down here is almost the width that we need, which is insane. This is not going to hold anything. This might be a better vase. Maybe we'll turn this into a teapot. Like a. I have enough clay in here. We could potentially turn this into a teapot. We'll see how much time we have. All right, right width for that. Now we have to check the top part. And this is where it's going to get really wide and really weird because of just the nature of this particular shape. You guys can probably see how thin these are. Like I was saying earlier, it's 2 pieces. They're both, one of the exterior is 300 grams. Sorry, the exterior is 350 grams. The interior is 325 to 330. I wasn't being very precise today. And the idea is that I want this to feel like a singular cup in your hand when it's finished. And in order to do so, I have to make these. This might be too thin. I have to make these really thin. Though this might be too thin. I may have screwed up on this one. I made it too wide. One day I'll learn what I'm doing. With money, my good fellow friend. You spend money on such an item. How much money are you looking to spend to buy a pottery wheel? And then I can start putting you in the direction of a wheel in the price range that you're looking to spend on. But I would take a class first. I would not just buy a pottery wheel. Potentially. But my stuff is not necessarily. If we do cone stick stuff, I'm happy to start taking commissions. I probably would not do something like that for an atmospheric pot. If you send me a message, we can talk about it. And it's 100% upfront, cost wise. And we can go from there. Commissions are a weird one with ceramics because most people back out. So I always take 100% upfront these days. It's if you're doing this as a hobby, it's very expensive. If you're doing this as a career, you're going to be poor. You're not going to be poor, but you have to be pretty successful for this to like financially make you a substantial amount of money. Um, I make enough so I don't die. I've been really lucky to pretty much do pottery for the last. I've been doing full time pottery since 2018, but I've been able to kind of do jobs related to pottery or art since 2015. But it is not lucrative. Like, really, I mean, I don't want to ruin anybody's dreams. Atmospheric, artsy pottery is not a lucrative business. Um, Electric fired production, cheap production work can be a very lucrative business. The way I'm doing it, really dumb. Don't really recommend it. But I was a solid student in school, so I went the stupid route, the harder route for sure. Maybe it'll pay off one day. It hasn't yet, but maybe it will. Mm. Say the last part again, Lydia. I don't quite understand. The markets are interesting too because you have to really sell yourself aggressively. Um, and I burn out with social interaction after about 20 minutes. And so in-person sales are hard for me because I can do like the first day, the second day on a lot of these sales, I'm just burnt out. And my stuff is too expensive for normal craft fairs, which is the online business has been great in that context. But of course, Tracy, I'm just lucky enough that I'm able to keep doing this. And I built my own wood kiln, been able to do a bunch of cool stuff. I've been very lucky to be able to do all that kind of stuff and still be able to feed myself. Though I feed my dog better than I feed myself. She gets salmon or trout or some kind of cool fish this time of year every other night. And I eat a can of beans and some lettuce most nights. So she gets fed quite well, and I eat beans. Did I say that? I can't remember what I say. I forget what I say almost immediately. All right. I don't know if that one's going to work. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is trim all the interior sections. I'll show you. You guys are going to get rocky for a second on Facebook. I apologize. This is Olive. She is a Whippet Lab with blackmouth cur. She's the best thing that's ever existed in the entire world. And if you follow me on Instagram, I post about feeding her fish every other night with chopsticks on my stories. So if you ever need some dog story chopstick eating content, that's where you can find that. But yeah, she's great. Okay, time to trim the interiors, and then we will torch the exteriors, and then we will insert everything, and then go from there. I can't show you guys on Facebook my little dog, though I posted about her. Um, the front-facing camera on this phone here does not actually work, which is why I got a new phone, which is where YouTube is being streamed right now. But that's why, again, if you're also wondering, it sounds like I'm just talking to myself. It's because when I stream, I almost always stream at two different places at the same time. Okay. And the question is, are these dry enough to actually trim? So I don't really care if the top gets messed up because we are going to be attaching them later. I may not have actually torched these enough. Let me just give everything a quick torch. Sorry, you're just gonna have to watch this spin for a second. It's gonna be kind of boring. What else needs torching? Okay. It's the same as my Facebook. Everything's the same. It's all Bell Hill Pottery. If you want to find me anywhere online, you can just search Bell Hill Pottery or search my name with pottery at the end. I'll also show up. I quit TikTok, so if you use TikTok and you want to find me there, you can't. I have an account there, but I deleted the apps on everything. I'm not interested in that app anymore. That platform is dead to me. So we're Facebook and YouTube, and maybe we'll stream on Instagram from time to time, but streaming on Instagram is pretty awful. All right, sounds good. Later, Otter. Also, if anybody is in New England, I host a once monthly tea service. So you can see how these smaller cups, teapots, and everything is being used. It's 5 people. I had my first one the other day. I have a subtropical greenhouse where I grow grapefruits and oranges and kumquats and loquats and clementines and figs and camellias and a bunch of cool things. And so the first couple will be in my greenhouse while it's cold outside. And then we'll start moving outside and drinking tea outside. But it's kind of an introduction to loose leaf tea to the East Coast. So you can go to my website and sign up. The next one is going to be on the 28th of this month at 2 p.m., which is a Saturday. It's the last Saturday of every month. So if anybody wants to join, you're welcome to. It's $20. Pay it at the door. You can buy the pottery that you're using. You can buy the teapots that we're using. I'll bring teapots to show that you can buy those. You don't have to buy anything. You just have to pay for the $20, which is super cheap. In my opinion, it's going to go up in price at some point, but it's kind of just, I want people to. I'm keeping everything really cheap right now, just to get people into loose leaf tea and to disregard tea bags as tea, because they aren't. It's just shit. It's just absolute trash. Stop drinking tea bags. You're just drinking plastic. You're drinking bad quality tea with plastic. If that's what you like, go for it. I'm not gonna keep harping on it, but stop drinking it. It's bad for you. It's interesting when I go downtown and I try to buy a tea at a coffee shop, they give me juice. Give me like cranberry juice. It's not even tea. So it's kind of one of those things. So I grow Camellia sinensis and Camellia japonica. Camellia sinensis is what tea is. Camellia japonica is just a really pretty flower. You can drink it. It's not tea. It would be an herbal infusion at that point. But it has a really light, grassy aroma, kind of similar to very, 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 very mild matcha. It's interesting. But we have so many blooms right now. I've been drinking my camellia blossoms The Camellia sinensis is not in bloom right now, which is a shame. But I think I'll be serving um, orange peel infusion as well. Maybe even like a puer orange peel infusion kind of tea for the next tea event. With, I think we haven't picked the tea yet. I have a buddy who's now sponsoring, who owns the tea company that I use. He's going to be sponsoring uh, the tea. I don't know if it's for all of them or just for a couple of them. It doesn't really matter. The fact is, he's going to be supplying the tea. I'm going to leave it up to him to tell me what he wants to push and things like that. But so I've thought about it, Karen, and I haven't found a tea that I like enough to start selling that would also sell to other people, like that people would actually want to buy. I haven't quite figured out what I drink a lot of puer. That's what I'm drinking right now. This is not a tea I would recommend to anybody else. They have very acquired taste, and I know that I would end up just kind of not being able to sell it. But I've been thinking about that for years now. I mean, a dream of mine is to open up a tea house, but every tea house that I've ever been to and I've kind of asked them about their business and all that kind of stuff, they very aggressively say no, do not do it. You're just going to hemorrhage money. It's just a money sink. And so the closest I'm going to be getting are these kind of event-based things and special events for special parties that people can potentially book. Potentially, I'm not really open to that quite yet, but that's something that could happen. Um, anyway, sorry, these are trimmings are going to be slow on these because they're wetter than I expected because I didn't trim them. I mean, I didn't torch them very well because we were making so many of these. So we have a little bit of weight right here that we're going to get rid of. And then we have some weight on the bottom, but it's not substantial. And we do want to keep enough weight for our tea to not completely hold on, I hear someone outside my studio. You hear that too, dog? What do you think that is? It's not Wednesday today, right? It's Thursday. Give me 1 second. I want to check what this is. It's just kind of weird. I'll be right back. You stay there, dog. Fascinating. Okay, so literally no idea. I think there's an animal in my kiln room. It sounds big. It sounds kind of like a skunk or something. So I'm just gonna ignore it completely and just hope for the best. We were gonna trim this more. I'm just not going to. I don't feel like it anymore. Um, I lied. We're gonna trim the bottom just a little bit more. Wow, it's bright outside. My eyes are not adjusted in here. Whoa. I'm hoping the rest will be a little bit easier to trim because we torched the insides, and they've been sitting a little bit longer. But if they are not, what we're going to do is put them all on, torch the bottoms, and then we're going to torch the exterior pieces. And then by that time, they should be ready to go. So we're just going to just see how this feels. Okay. So I like to sign my name on the bottom because this will be exposed later on. And my chop is a little teapot, a little top-handled teapot. I'm gonna make a new chop. I'm kind of bored of this one. Where's this go? Oh, over here. Okay. So I think what we're gonna do, because I have a feeling all these are gonna be wet on the bottom. Yeah, they are. So what we're gonna do is quickly put all these upside down. We're gonna give their butts a torch. Then I'm gonna put their counterpart on afterward, give those a torch, trim these, put them in. Yeah. You can't torch something immediately or trim something immediately after you torch it. It just creates a crust, so you have to let it like seep in a little bit. And this one here is probably the one that we're gonna not end up using, but I'll torch it anyway. Okay, so it's 1:45. So we might have enough time to poke holes in one of these, but we'll see. The big thing is I need to get stuff um, cleared out before, like all the slip and all the glock has to be gone. All right, so let's torch these guys next. Ugh, you know what? I'm just being lazy putting it on this. Let me just take this off. It's gonna get really boring for a second. I apologize. We're gonna just be torching a bunch of stuff. You want to come back in like 5 minutes? I'll be done. So Karen, I won't be doing the live video. So the joining part will happen in this video still. But if you go back to my reels, you can see full videos on how I build all my double walled stuff. And there's also I was in Ceramics Monthly last year, and I had a two page spread about how to make these specific things. Because I got the emerging artist last year, or the year before, for my double walled stuff. So then I got to write a couple articles about it as well. So there's a lot of information out there about step by step how to do this as well. Of course, Karen. Thanks for watching. So I think the next one I said we were gonna expand out a little bit, but now I'm not sure if I want to or not. So I was gonna bring the wall out a little bit on this one. What do you guys think? Yes, no, maybe so. Just like a little bit here, just so it doesn't inflect. Make it more Christmas tree shaped, you know what I mean? That's all. Just like a little bit. All right, we got to torch 3 more, and then we can actually start doing the next part. I know, this part's like watching paint dry. one has some serious cracks. Boy, oh boy. 2 more to go, guys. All right, YouTube, I'm sorry, but whoever's my thing, my headphones just died, so. All right, one more. And then we can start trimming the interiors, and then we can start attaching the interiors, and then we can get out of here. So I gotta take a bunch of people snowboarding in, what time is it? It's 1 o'clock. In an hour, essentially, I have to go, so. Also, guys, actually, let's finish this. Alright, I have to pee real bad. I'll be right back, and then we'll start trimming. I'm trapped myself in the house. There's an incredibly heated argument happening between 2 squirrels in my kiln room right now. It's very exciting. I wish you guys could hear it. Okay, so that's trimmed already. Now we're gonna get to the actual trim-ins. These should all be ready to go because of everything we just did. Like I said, the only thing we're probably not going to get to today is actually poking out the holes. It's going to be really cold here soon, and so I just wanted to make as many of these I could while I had wood. I've now used all of my wood. I have no wood left. So I'm just trying to get as much stuff done as I can. And then while it's super disgustingly cold this weekend, I'll probably go out and take down one of the standing dead trees and then drag it back to my studio in the frigid cold and then cut it up so we have some firewood for Tuesday, which will be our next day that we're going to be in here making stuff. So again, we want these to be as light as possible. So this feels like 1 cup instead of 2. Now, there are a bunch of fancy gadgets that one could use. Yo, how are you? What's new? What's happening? To help you trim, I guess. But I'm a big believer in just a piece of clay. Someone the other day in one of the lives was asking if I had any sponsorships, and I don't, because I don't use tools. What is anybody going to offer me? The only person that makes sense is Dolan, but why would they reach out to me? They've done fine on their own. They don't need me, who barely generates views, to review their products or anything, you know what I mean? What's new? What have you been working on? Anything fun? Oh, I went too thin. Shoot. It's fine. We're fine. That one will not be signed though, because if I try to put my chop on it, it 100% will break. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I love the idea of a domino set though. Wait, for a gym show? Now I'm confused. Clearly I did not torch this one enough on the rim. Oh, gotcha. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. There's been some nasty stuff going around for months now. Well, the school I work at, they were like 70% of the people were out, kids were out because of colds. This was before their holiday winter. Oh, jeez. Okay. Am I just losing it right now? Do I just not know how to throw? Just put that to the side for a second. Clearly did not torch it enough because we're doing something different today. And I guess I just didn't torch the rim enough on that one. And I didn't bother looking because I just assumed that I did. That's okay. Oh, not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. My buddy had, it sounds like something similar, and he's been still coughing pretty aggressively. And it's been weeks now. So if yours was a month, it's definitely worse than whatever he has. One more, and then we're gonna have to figure out what to do with that one that I screwed up on. I really like the cup that one goes with, so I'd like to, oh, I guess there's two more actually. But real nasty. Really exciting about the gem thing. It makes me want to get back into selling bonsai pots at conventions and stuff. I think I'm gonna start going to orchid shows and selling pots there. I know that there's ones that happen around here, so. Yo, Luga, what's new? What's happening? Well, I'm glad you caught me because it's going to be in the negative. So, and I used the remaining bit of wood that I had today for this, what we're doing right now. So I can't actually be in my studio again until I go cut down a tree. So this weekend when it's like -5, I'll go take down a standing dead tree somewhere, or maybe even tomorrow. Because I think tomorrow is only supposed to be 0 degrees, whereas Over the weekend, it's supposed to be -5. I know, right? Damn. How much are the tickets if you were to be able to get one? I'm sure it would be expensive too. Alright, so I screwed up on this rim. Do you buy a ticket to a different country for that? Not much. Luca. A rich guy over here, my god. Gross. And what does VIP get you? We're gonna leave this one a little bit heavier because I screwed up so hard on it. Oh, that's hefty though. I can't leave it. And I don't have the time to really make a new one. I mean, I technically probably do, but I don't have the mental time to do it. You know what I mean? I just keep ruining this thing. I'm just like, it doesn't want to exist. Okay, whatever. I'm over it. Okay, let's start with the hard ones first and get frustrated. And then we'll go to the soft, easy ones. Gotcha. Hold on, I got hot water in my water bowl, or am I gonna just freeze to death in here? I should have seen if this actually fits first. Damn, gotcha. Wow, that's really hot. Hold on, I need to put cold water in there. I didn't realize it was that hot. Yeah, right. Cool. Alright, this one already has a bunch of holes in it, so I shouldn't have to poke a hole in it before torching it. Yeah. I guess technically I am at the moment, Luca. Yeah, exactly. It's not a big deal. Right on. And how's Luna doing? What kind of flowers? Roses, huh? I've never really understood roses. There's so many flowers out there. Never really understood why. I mean, like, not to like say anything negative about Luna's taste there. I just don't get them. There's like millions of cool flowers. Nope. Elaborate, please. I see, I see. Alright, so we can poke holes in these, because we can just put hearts in them. But we're going to poke a small hole. Doesn't really matter where, because it's going to be varying sizes of hearts and things like that, so it can't really matter if I just add any kind of hole anywhere. As long as it's not too high up so I can't access it. That would be the only caveat to what I just said. As far as timing goes, I do not think we're going to be able to poke out holes on any of these. We will be able to get these all trimmed, but I will not have the time. It's already 1:14, and I need time to clean up and eat something. So we'll get as far as we can. Oh, we didn't even trim one of the bottoms of the other things? Boy, oh boy. Nice thing is that we measured these all right today, which does not happen very often. Uh, the next firing is either going to be early March. That has to be like the first day of March, because I leave to go. I'm going to go hiking through Spain. So more likely it's going to be very last week of March, and then it takes about a couple days for everything to cool down and firing and all that. So it'll be a week after that. So I'd say like nothing will be finished and ready to buy. It's atmospherically fired until like mid-April. Though I will be experimenting with a couple pieces in the electric kiln that are cone 10. It is cone 10 clay that I'm going to be firing to cone 6. But it's just kind of a precursor. I'll sell them with the caveat that they are cone 10 clay. There needs to be torched more. But thanks, appreciate it.